Hello, I'm Pastor Marie-Louise Nangwa from Douala in Cameroon. Welcome to Let Master Spiritual Law. We continue with the fourth part of our thematic, Spiritual Status and its impact on the enjoyment of God's promises. In the previous video, we started studying the different execution agents of the decision of the spiritual world. We have seen that the Holy Spirit and the angels of God were in charge of executing the blessing of God, while the demons were responsible for executing the decision of the world of darkness and the chastisement of God. Let us talk now about the role of men in the execution of the decision of the world of darkness. Exactly as it is written in Matthew 18 verse 19, "Again I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven." The servant of the devil, agent of execution, play the role of bailiff, recover the decision, notify the opposing party, make use of their own strength. Unlike the servants of God, agents of the devil know their work, they master the procedures, and they are reckless and motivated in nature because they take pleasure in evil. Let us define now what the Bible called a strong man in Luke 11 verse 21. What is a strong man? A strong man is a spirit charged with executing a condemnation-like decision. Unlike spirits which execute decision from enchantment or curses, the strong man usually has the right on his side. He usually has the law on his side. His disturbing activities are not illegal. Anyway, sometimes it is a high-ranking spirit holding a false title deed. It is important to notice that the degree of severity of a problem depends on the grade of the spirit responsible for executing a decision. It is written in Ephesians 6 verse 12. "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against power, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This verse classifies the angels of Satan from the most powerful to the weakest. The dominion control vast subdivided geographical zones on which are established authorities. The areas controlled by the authorities are also divided into territories under the control of the princes of the world of darkness. The latter are established above evil spirits, grouped generally by village, clans, or by district. Two persons may experience the same disease, the same kind of oppression, yet depending on whether the problem is caused by a wicked spirit or by a dominion, deliverance will be easier or more difficult. One of them will therefore be able to receive deliverance faster than the other. The error some Christians commit is thinking that the person who is delivered faster has more faith or a more ready heart. Now let us look at the issue of identifying victims. Since those who make most decisions of the dark world are rarely responsible for their execution, it is imperative to be able to identify the person at whose expense the said decisions are to be executed. When an evil spell or enchantment is cast at a person, the spirit in charge of executing it need information about his or her life, which may enable it to find him. Several solutions can be used. The first identifying solution is the use of the victim's name and parentage. Since same names exist, the use of a name as an address is usually supplemented by other information such as parentage. The latter is particularly required when executing hereditary decisions. The second identifying solution is the use of a photo, an image. It is an easy and reliable means of identification. The third identifying solution is the use of an object that belongs to the targeted person. In physical life, from objects that have belonged to a person, such as toothbrush, towel, clothing, forensic science can detect and collect biological traces such as saliva, blood, hair, urine and feces, which are used to determine its DNA. DNA is the deoxyribonucleic acid, which is present in almost all human cells and which is used to identify the culprits. On the spiritual level, it is the same in an improved version. That is why some enchantment requesters will bring clothes, underwear, shoes, hair, bags, sanitary napkins that belong to the one they want to harm. The curse will be pronounced against the person responsible for the biological trace, and the spirit charged with execution will be able to identify him and trace him back. In the same perspective, they can also directly use a part of the body such as the umbilical cord, nails, blood. The fourth identifying solution is the use of money, food, or any other object delivered by the person concerned or received by him. In spiritual life, everything is recorded. It is enough to give details about the date and place of an event. The spirit in charge of execution then consult the camera of this zone as well as the databases and can go after the person sought for. Many will say that this statement is out of place. In response, I will tell them firstly that this model already exists in most major towns of the world, in their main street, in public places. Everything is under video surveillance. When there is an incident somewhere, the police refer to the cameras installed in the place to try to understand what happened and identify those who are responsible. Since the visible is only a poor copy of the invisible, it is even more present in the spiritual world. How can you explain the fact that a person can see in a dream an event that occurred 30 years ago, which he sometimes did not remember? These images, the video related to this event, had to be recorded and stored somewhere. When the Bible teaches us that God will give to each according to his work, if the course of our lives is not recorded somewhere, on what will this judgment be based? The audiovisual, with its storage and projection technology, is only a poor copy of what is happening in the spiritual world. The witch doctors pronounce incantation of this nature. We send this enchantment to the one who gave us this money, or we send this enchantment to the one who will use this money, for example. During trials in the spiritual world, it is therefore easy to bring evidences. Let me speak now about an aspect which is very important for the understanding of the follow-up of this course: the link between decision of the spiritual world and dreams. Notification is the formality by which a person is informed of the content of an act. When a person must either receive a warning or be summoned to appear in the world of darkness, when a sentence or resolution is made up against him in the spiritual world, it is customary for him to be notified. In physical life, the opposing party may be notified either by registered letter or by byleaf. On the spiritual level, what type of notification are used? According to the book of Job 33, verse 14 to 18, God speaks to men through dreams and visions while they are asleep. God being invisible, we can conclude that one of the means of communication between man and the invisible world is dreams. Let me repeat this. The means of communication between man and the invisible world is dreams. For example, it was by a dream that the angel of the Lord announced to Joseph to run away with Mary and Jesus, for the baby's life was in danger. A dream is a sequence of images and representation that present themselves to us, crossing our mind during sleep. We may or may not remember it. Some dreams are like open windows in the spiritual world. The dreamer has direct or deferred access to images relating to the status of his spirit or to decisions made by the spiritual world against him. It is like a live report of what one spirit is undergoing in order to prepare the victim to defend themselves or not. This is part of the right to information principle. So it is sometimes thanks to dream that some have become aware of the fact that they will have a spiritual problem. Sometimes too, in order to prevent the victim from becoming aware of the oppression he is undergoing and not to seek solution, the bad guys ensure that the victim does not remember his dream. This corresponds to the case of people who say they have never dreamed. When, through a dream, wizards threaten or inform their victim of what they are planning, this notification is not only meant to taunt the victim, it is of paramount importance for them in the undergoing judicial proceedings in the spiritual world. Indeed, when they cite a person to appear by means of a dream, the judgment pronounced against him will be considered contradictory, though he will not be present at the trial. On the other hand, when they have served this decision, after a period of time without the victim appearing, the conviction will be final and can no longer be subject of an appeal and will thus be enforced. It is important to notice that not all dreams are necessarily messages from the invisible world. Do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel Came of God channel to receive all the next video. Just press the red button, subscribe below the video. Let us answer to the fourth question of this thematic. What are the different effects of this decision in men's life? The decision of the invisible world can have consequences on a man's body, soul and spirit, equally on his works and relationship. The truth is, since the body, the soul and the spirit form a whole, an effect on one part will effectively have repercussion on the others. Some effects are traceable to curses, plots, enchantment, or condemnation. Other effects, however, are specific to a single type of decision. Let us study firstly the effect of Arukah-World decision on the spiritual body called oppressions. What is an oppression? When I was a teenager, relative told me the story of a village in southern Cameroon in which the wizard or sorcerer did not hide, boasted about it, and openly mocked their victim by saying, "This one is not somebody, we play him like a ball at night." What did these wizards mean? Is it possible to use a man as a ball? In the physical, if a person can be kicked to the point of rolling on the ground, you will end up with a swollen body and sometimes even wounds. But the wizard did not physically assault them, otherwise they will be aware of them and their relative will witness them. After I became a child of God, one day I was reading my Bible and discovered the following passage. Isaiah 22 verse 17 to 18. Indeed, the Lord will throw you away violently, O mighty man, and will surely seize you. He will surely turn violently and toss you like a ball into a large country. It is God who threatened a treasurer this way, describing the punishment to be met on him. He promises to turn and toss him like a ball. Is there any difference between the words of the sorcerers, "We play him like a ball," and that of the Bible, "I will turn and toss you like a ball"? Is this not the same punishment? Today I understand that these wizards made their victim to suffer oppressions. Oppression is a violence exerted on the spiritual body and having more or less repercussion on the physical body. Given the fact that every human being has a spirit or spiritual body, playing someone like a ball amount to using his spirit as such. The following verse highlight another type of oppression. Isaiah 51 verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of those who afflict you, who have said to you, "Lie down, and we may walk over you." And you have laid your body like the ground, and as the street for those who walk over. In your opinion, what will a person whose spiritual back suffers from such maltreatment feel like? Will he not have unexplained and recurring pain in his back? In many other versions of the Holy Bible, the expression "those who afflict you" is translated by "you are tormentors." The word tormentor has as synonym the term oppressor. That means a person who inflicts oppressions. We read in Psalm 74 verse 20. For the dark places of the earth are full of the hand of cruelty. The dark places are another name for the work of darkness. It is that part of the spiritual world which is far from God, who is light, and is occupied or controlled by Satan and his angels. It is characterized by violence in all its forms, by the law of the survival of the fittest. We continue with the third type of spiritual oppression, namely assault with arrows. Let us read the passage of Psalms 38, verse 3 to 9. There is no soundness in my flesh because of your anger, nor any health in my bones because of my sin. For my iniquities have gone over my head. Like a heavy burden, they are too heavy for me. My wounds are full of festering because of my foolishness. I am troubled, I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long, for my lungs are full of inflammation, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and severely broken. I groan because of the turmoil of my heart. In the physical world, an arrow is a long object with a sharp point made to pierce and penetrate a target. A spiritual arrow is a malevolent word intended to pierce the spiritual body and cause pain. David declares that he was a victim of the arrow of the Lord, then explains the effect of it on his body using the following expression: there is no soundness in my flesh, there is no rest in my bones, my lungs are filled with a loathsome disease. A flesh that is no longer healthy is a flesh with pathological impairment or abnormalities. It is sick and has suffered severe ulceration. It should also be noted that some effect of these arrows affected the soul of David because he was subjected to sadness and his heart mourned. Here are few examples of the complaint of those who come for deliverance and that confirm the troubles spiritual arrows cause. I dreamed 6 months ago that an arrow was shot at my back, and since then I have had a pain in this part of my back. Yet all the medical tests gave negative results. Another example: I have been suffering from chest pain and breathing problem for 5 years. Everything started with a dream I had one night in which someone shot at me with an arrow. I have been in several hospitals. I have met with cardiologists, but all the tests are negative. I can also quote as a fourth type of oppression spiritual chasings. It is written in Psalm 10 verse 2. The wicked in his pride persecutes the poor. Let them be caught in the plot which they have devised. In this verse, the word persecute means hotly pursues. This corresponds to dreams of the type: I dream all the time that a group of people pursues me. Or I used to dream that a black dog is chasing me. A month ago, I dreamed that this dog bite me on the arm, and when I woke up, I noticed that I had traces of a bite on that arm. Since then, it is paining despite the drugs I have taken. The fifth type of oppression which I want to cite as an example is spiritual forced labor. They are reflected in statements such as: I usually dream that unknown people transport me from farm to farm, from plantation to plantation, and I work for them. Sometimes I see myself working in a quarry. Such a person will always be tired when he wakes up, though he slept for 10 hours. The sixth type of oppression I want to dwell on is spiritual fights. This is actually fights involving our spiritual body and one or more other spiritual beings. Some people who undergo these fights Wake up to find wounds or scars on the skin. Do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel, Came of God channel, in order to receive all the next video. Just press the red button, subscribe below the video. See we next week, God willing. May God bless you.